Hi folks, welcome. My name is Seagull. Do you guys know what Bing and Bong's Tiny Planets is? Now, for a long time, I didn't know. Well, at least I didn't think I knew. Picture this. My family and I are sitting at our table for our Thanksgiving meal. We've already finished the food and now we're just chatting about whatever comes up. The topic of old shows my sister and I watched as a child pops up. One of my parents asked me, do you remember that one show you used to watch, The Two Little White Aliens? I was confused and looked it up. Something unlocked. Something I forgot that was a mere fever dream experienced one of my many nights of being ill was right in front of my eyes. Bing and Bong's Tiny Planets. Alright, now, I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't heard of this. It's kind of underground, since also everyone I've asked, literally. I did a poll on Instagram. One person knew. And about 28 people either said no or didn't reply. So I'm taking that as a no. That's why I'm here. Listen, your boy's here. This wasn't one of your childhood shows like iCarly or SpongeBob that everyone's most likely seen or at least heard of. This is Bing and Bong's Tiny Planets. No one talks about the show. I want to make sure it doesn't lost its sands of time. I also hope that maybe for those who may have forgotten about this show, are now reminded of its existence. You now get to live in the same world as Bing and Bong's Tiny Planets. You thought you forgot it. You thought it was a dream. It's back, baby. You can't escape it. I guess now, without further ado, let's get into the series that reeks of early 2000s animations and that made me say mommy a little too many times. I don't know where to throw this in, but in preparation for talking about the show, I did in fact go and watch all 65 episodes of the show, which that's not a lot. I mean, it is, but all the episodes are very short, so I mean, it wasn't. In theory, it should not have been a task, but it was. Listen, the theme song is forever gonna be burned in my brain. It's gonna haunt my darkest and deepest nightmares. Also, another thing I want to throw in, I did some of this script writing, while I was in a Discord call with one of my friends, Gracie, or Penny the Cat 1, as I feel like most of you know. And they said this video is gonna be my explosion. They also said to not put that in the video. And ultimately, this show's history is anything too wild, and also another surprising thing. Any info about that show can really be found within like a search or two. You can also just find every episode is on YouTube. I'll link the playlist. I think sitting here rambling about the history and the production details is a little boring compared to actually showing and telling you guys about my favorite episodes. So I'm gonna give you a brief rundown. If you want to know more, feel free to do your own research. Or if you want, I'm actually going to link a video I found while doing this research where somebody goes into a bit more of the historical information about this show. Bing and Bong's Tiny Planets originated in the UK in the early 2000s, which, based on the animation, I feel like that should be pretty obvious. After a few years, it was sent over to the States, where it was then aired on the channel Noggin, which I spent probably an ungodly amount of time there in my early youth. I'll say something interesting I did find about the show was a collab effort between Pepper's Ghost Productions and Sesame Workshop. And yes, when I say Sesame Workshop, I mean the Sesame Workshop. The show itself is only like 65 episodes long, which every episode only literally lasts about 5 minutes, including the intro and the outro. Every episode pretty much follows the exact same format. Bing and Bong get catapulted on their white fuzzy couch from their home planet to other tiny planets that surround their home planet. They then explore, learn, or have fun. After that, they get dragged back home. Simple as that. Now, before we jump into my favorite episodes, I feel like I should maybe give a brief rundown of some of our main characters and some of the creatures you're going to see in this world of tiny planets. So, for starters, Bing and Bong, two fuzzy white aliens, Bing standing on 2 feet, Bong standing on 6 feet. Then we have flockers, which are these weird alien creatures that usually have skinny legs, rounded bodies, and long necks with a small round head. Every planet has its own unique variation of flocker, so it kind of changes per episode, but usually that's their loose design. And then we have locals, which is a kind of, they just look like the basic nightlights you may find online or in some streamer's background. These guys also have their different variations, but always are just just the cute little blobs with like 2 little dot eyes. They're adorable, I love them so much. I would love to crush one of them in my hand. And finally, we have the robots. These guys usually have like some form of small body with arms, or maybe just a wheel leg and maybe some different form of head. Just silly, just basic robots. We also have a character named Haley, named after Haley's Comet, but we don't really see that character much during the show. In the UK version, every episode had a quick narration by Haley, but once I got shipped over to the States, it got removed. Throughout the series, we have a total of 7 tiny planets that these 2 lovable fuzzy guys explore. Those planets is to be a tiny planet of home, tiny planet of nature, tiny planet of sound, tiny planet of stuff, tiny planet of technology, and tiny planet of self. My personal favorite is Tiny Planet stuff. I'm also pretty sure that's the source of why I like both like the synthwave and vaporwave type aesthetics. Won't surprise me. Now that we got that out of the way, I want to talk about the actual episodes. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to cover every single episode, but I'm just going to cover some of my favorites, or some of the ones I remember from my youth, or the episodes that just straight up scare me and haunt me. Starting off, let's talk about episode 4. It's Raining Bongs. In this episode, Bing and Bong land on the planet nature and find a lake to swim in. Bing gives Bong a balloon, which leads to Bong getting carried away into the air. They are then floated all the way up to the top of the mountain, to which they then let go of the balloon and fall into a pond, and are taken by a river down the mountain, back to the original lake. Then there's a part where they redirect a shower that was taking water from the mountain and puts the output water back into the lake. This episode, as a matter of fact, is actually about the water cycle, which, to me, because I'm really lame, I think is really cool. I like the water cycle. It gets done in such a natural way. It doesn't feel like, hey, look at the water cycle. Ah! Next off, we have episode 9, Body Talking. I only want to highlight this episode because Bong does this scream that legitimately caught me so off guard. It scared me. Episode 12, Picnic Poser. This episode adds a character that scared me and I have been using to torment 2 of my friends with. Bing and Bong go on a picnic, which some flockers roll up to. They cut a cake to share with them, and all of a sudden, there she is, Scrub Mommy. Now, I don't think she has an official name. I couldn't find one, or if even she is a she. I just don't know what else to call her. So Scrub Mommy it is. She then eats the entire cake like an absolute girl boss. I also want to read you guys the direct summary I wrote for this episode when I originally was watching it. Bing and Bong sat on a picnic being spelled P-I-C-K-N-I-C-K, you know. Stick guys show up, so they divide the cake. Scrub Mommy looking ass eats the whole cake. Stick guys have another cake. That's it. There's your summary for that one. Our next episode is number 13, Shoot You. I just want to highlight this one because Bing has bow tie. And there's also some really sick rave music that plays. I just had to share a few. We then have episode 18, Magic Mirror. Now this episode is really important to me because this is the episode that will lurk in the back of my subconscious. It would occasionally pop up in my mind, and I always thought it was just some weird dream I had, but no, it's real, it's here. Episode 26, Sweet Temptations, is an episode that was also very familiar to me. I have, no memories of it until I watched it, and I had a quick moment of, oh, yeah, I remember. I specifically kind of just remember the way the flockers ate and held the candy. That was it, that's all I remembered from the episode. Episode 29, Keep Your Anger, is an episode where we see Bing feel the rage of a dying star. We also learn how he deals with this in a healthy way, which I think is a really important lesson, since I feel many people aren't taught healthy ways to deal with that are more negative emotions, such as rage and sadness. This episode is just kind of maybe a nice way to teach us some healthy and quick ways to deal with their anger instead of spending about a month watching a show from their childhood just so they can properly ramble about it in front of 3 people on the internet. It's a way to forget the things that haunt them in a brief moment of not forcing themselves to work on a project to try to prove that they are worth something in this place in the world. Next episode's number 32, Spring Cleaning. I just want to show you this god-awful bong jack in the box. It scares me. Episode 34, Three Wheeling, is an episode that I vaguely remember from my childhood. It shows the idea of using wheels to move things, and specifically the method of using rods to move things, sort of like a conveyor belt. I, for some reason, as a kid, was really fascinated with this idea. Because I remember that would have something like a cup or something, and I would just take colored pencils and set on and roll in, you do the flip thing. I don't know, that was fascinating to me. Another episode I remember as a kid, episode 36, Pelton Metal. Nothing special, I just remember this one, I also think this shows why I wanted a unicycle as a kid, since there is a lot of unicycles in the show, an unnormal amount. Number 37, Pivotal Points, bring back everyone's favorite character, boys, Scrub Mommy, she's returned! Bing and Bong are playing frisbee, and she just appears. He then makes the common mistake of falling asleep on the frisbee. Bing and Bong then use a seesaw to move her off the frisbee, which wakes her up. They then all play on the seesaw together. We then get episode 42, Mixing Colors. This episode in itself is fairly standard. It's about the primary colors and what happens when you mix them. But let me Let me set the scene for you. It's about 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night. Sharp chill fills the air outside. I'm sitting in my chair, all nice comfy, tired from a day of shopping, ready to take notes on the episode of the series. I'm sitting at my desk, watching a kid show, and Bing makes a silly mistake, and something clicks in my head. Every episode, I am mostly only focusing on one character, watching how they move, how they're animated, hand gestures they make, and the way their emotions are animated, lessons they teach, outfit changes on rare occasion. It seemed nice. Seemed like someone I'd like to hang out with. The next episode is episode 44, Flock or Flicker. I just thought this episode was cool because it kind of gives a very basic idea on how animation works and how like the flipbooks work. I thought that was neat. Episode 50, Desperately Seeking Silence, is an episode from my youth that I remember. Also, God, what an episode name. In this episode, Bing and Bong go out for a picnic. Then Bing tries to take a nap, but is interrupted by this banger of a song. Episode 51, Hear My Song. Why does the flocker have arms? It shouldn't have arms. Why does it have arms? Episode 54, What's Cooking? There's really much to know here, just that Bing and Bong suck at cooking. He's just like me, for real, for real. And we have episode 56, Birthday Party Build-Up. And with that, that's kind of it. To give my own personal rating of the show, I would say I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I also want to make it clear for that rating, I'm rating this as a kid show, right? This doesn't fall into the same category for my rating of things like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or like Chainsaw Man or like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, it's a different like category entirely. I'm sort of just kind of rating the show based on if I would actually show this to a child I had the pleasure of caring for. And yeah, I think the show would be absolutely fantastic, in all honesty. When I just originally had the script, or like in my script I say like the episodes are really short, so maybe that would be bad. Well, that's actually perfect for the kids' attention spans today. It teaches important life lessons, and it's all in a short 5-minute format. That's fantastic. I will say also the show, it doesn't really feel like someone's trying to like teach you. Like, it's not like they're forcing it down your throat. It's kind of just a fun little silly thing to watch, and like, yeah, you might learn a couple things. And there you have it, folks. Bing and Bong's Tiny Planets. Like I said, the show is really easy to find, so if you ever get bored and want to watch something quick and random, I highly recommend you give this show a chance. It's pretty fun. Thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day or night. See you next time.